Mr. President, I rise today to talk about the severity of the crisis facing our domestic steel industry. Workers are losing their jobs. Families are losing their homes. And communities are suffering. For several years, our domestic industry has been under constant attack. Our steel industry is in the midst of a crisis more severe than the one experienced nearly 2 decades ago. Global demand for steel has not kept pace with global production. As a result, many of the global producers have come here to the United States to try to dump their steel. And as a result of that, domestic producers continue to lose ground, surrendering a record high 29% market share to foreign-made steel last year. The industry currently has about a 65% capacity utilization rate. And in Indiana, we saw an 8% downturn in production last year. As a senator from Indiana, a state that accounts for 1/4 of all domestic steel capacity, I visit with steel workers and their families to listen to their concerns about the impact of illegally traded steel flooding our market. Hoosier families are worried. Steel plants are idling, and more than 1,000 Hoosier workers have been laid off as a direct result of the illegally dumped steel that flooded our market last year. These are the workers who come up to me at church on Sundays or stop by my office. They look me in the eye and ask me to explain, how can other nations get to produce and sell steel under a different set of rules? These workers have never asked me or anyone else for a handout. They simply ask that all parties compete on a level playing field, because these Hoosier steel workers know how valued their steel products are here and abroad. Congress and the Obama administration must work together to not only prevent further job losses, but to work to allow the steel industry to grow. When families face the uncertainty of a plant idling, they must prepare for the worst. All the while, small businesses who reside in communities that rely on the steel industry's success, they suffer because families are no longer able to purchase goods and services and groceries and clothes and things for their home because they're just trying to survive. The current situation only reinforces my long-held belief that strong trade policies strengthen communities. They ensure good employment for our workers, and they maintain a level playing field to foster the kind of fair competition that leads to robust markets. However, as we know all too well, such policies only work when everyone plays by the same rules. I appreciate the work of my colleagues here in the Senate and across the Capitol in the House, who have come together and worked in a bipartisan fashion to provide the administration with the significant tools they need to combat this historic influx of foreign-made steel. As you will recall, Congress recently passed the Leveling the Playing Field Act and also the Enforce Act to help our steel industry investigate and better fight unfair trade practices. While there's more to be done, the administration should use these important tools we have provided to vigorously defend our domestic industry from those who willingly do not play by the rules. Strict enforcement of the law is necessary to protect the domestic industry now and to deter bad actors from abusing the system in the future. Good, strong communities, good, strong cities, places like Portage and Gary and Crawfordsville and Rockport are relying on the United States Senate to do the right thing. We must double down on our efforts to combat the illegally traded steel coming into our markets. We must do so together. not only for the businesses and workers impacted by the onslaught of illegally traded steel, but for the children and the families and the communities who have been linked for generations to the success of our nation's steel industry. They're counting on us, and we cannot let them down.